Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the weekly comic book roundup. We've already covered this week's X-Men books, Spider-Man books, as well as a new issue of Guardians of the Galaxy. Now moving on to the Avengers-related books and the Miscellaneous Marvel books. I will admit, I did kind of mess up in the last video when it comes to the changing formats. Even though I reminded myself. So I'll be trying to do some opining about each book after going over them. So yeah, last video I kind of forgot until I was about midway through and just said, okay, screw it, we'll do all the opining at the end. Anyway, let's get started on this week's books. Beginning the video with Iron Man number 8. Where we left off, Iron Man and his allies were in space going after Korvac, who was trying to claim Galactus' world ship, Ta-2, for himself. And Iron Man was attempting to utilize the quasi-psychic link between Hellcat and Korvac against Korvac. And it seemed like maybe there was some progress made on that front. However, while they learned what Korvac's plan was, Tony and Hellcat were separated, with Tony ending up on an alien world. So the issue begins with Korvac's ship no longer being chased by the ship commanded by Stark and by Tony's allies, but chasing it. And it's not going too well. Gargoyle manages to show up and save Hellcat. Hellcat ends up also, physically he saves her. Mentally speaking, she is contacted by Moondragon, who's aware of what's going on. Who, along with the Guardians, are aware of what's going on. It's just that they're too far away to get there in time to help. Also, it turns out Moondragon is responsible for having taken away Hellcat's powers. This is a canonical thing that happened. The actual issue was it actually happened in Defenders number 77. So basically, they have to go through. Basically, as Moondragon puts it, make her stronger, they have to go through quite a bit. Looking at some of her past, but telepathy, telekinesis, she's got it. She's got both of them again. Then she's sent to the principal's office. However, her telekinesis display is to throw an apple at her teacher. Throw an apple at the chalkboard while the teacher's back is turned with said telekinesis. She is sent to afterwards. She's sent to the principal's office. The principal turns out to be Patsy's ex-husband, Damien Hellstrom. Then there's basically her having a complete breakdown, and inside everything, Moondragon and Patsy meet. A representation of Patsy's fears. Her fear of her own mind. Moondragon instructs Hellcat to free her fear, hold it, and accept it. She also has it deep down Korvac is afraid, and that if Patsy is not afraid, she can win. Upon returning to the Stark vessel, Hellcat takes the controls briefly, and takes command as well, and and also hits Korvac with a telepathic illusion of the Badoon attacking him. But Gargoyle manages to fix the various engine problems and get the fire suppression system back online. And Team Stark gets the hell out of there. However, that's as they're getting out of there is when Patsy realizes that Tony's not with them. So where is he? And that is where the issue ends. Strong issue. I was actually kind of surprised we didn't see anything with Tony. It was kind of cool seeing Hellcat get her psychic abilities back. Also, great seeing Moondragon and the fact that they're not using an older, more normal version of Moondragon that would be as it would be seen in previous Marvel comics, but actually making a point of, okay, what does Moondragon look like now? Okay, yeah, we have to go with that. Downside, even though they do go, well, it's a kind of a downside, kind of not, because on the one hand, Moondragon is a merged entity. She's basically the combination of Moondragon of two separate realities. So, yeah, I figure that she's got access to both, she got access to the memories from each one. So, yeah, I guess it fits. Fun stuff with some of the members of Team Stark. Frogman. Freaking Frogman, dude. It's like, man, I thought it'd be fun to go into space. Now, not so much. But yeah, it's a solid. It's solid. I'm enjoying this current Iron Man series. It's kind of sad. It is kind of sad to see regular series artist Cafu not on board with the issue, but perhaps it was a case of, well, hey, I really need to focus on this one. Can we get someone to a guest artist on 8? So. But yeah, so not a terrible issue. It's an interesting series so far, and I don't see myself, unless there's a massive drop in quality, and even then I might still just keep reading it to see how bad it gets. So yeah. Anyways, moving on to our next book, we've got Thor number 14. This is the conclusion of Prey. Thor, God of Thunder, All-Father, decided he was going to try to figure out, what's going on with Mjolnir, because it's becoming heavier, and he figured maybe it's time that he revisited Dr. Donald Blake. So we found out that Blake is in a limbo realm of sorts, but he's gone mad. Anyways, so Blake escapes, shatters the staff, and goes after everyone with who was ever blessed with the power of Odin. Exiles manages to send all the Asgardians to the blood dimension. Then Jane Foster recruited, beat the shit out of Odin, and got him to help. And Thor managed to get his essence into the destroyer armor for the big grand finale of everyone facing down against Donald Blake, who's been hacking at the World Tree, I might add, with the Argorn. So, big fight, but turns out he can summon Mjolnir. But yeah, doesn't really mean much when a Thor-controlled destroyer armor punches him right and square in the face. Beta Ray Bill then uses it to stop Donald. Doctor Strange binds him with the Crimson Bands of Satorak. And Odin's about to kill him. But Thor basically says, hey, don't. with an assist from Loki. But Thor comes out of the destroyer armor, not just his essence, but his body. And basically kind of says, I'll take care of this. Yes, this is your fault, and yes, there are many things we're going to speak of. Now, GTFO, and, tell Mom I love her. But Thor has decided that Donald Blake is his, So Donald asks him, why are you sparing me? Thor says, because you're my brother. You were made for my father, which whatever it is in your blood that makes you what you are also flows in me. So I'm not going to kill you. But I've never been above hurting my brothers when they fall out of line. And he hits him with a lightning blast. And Thor then asks Loki what he should do with Donald, but Loki seems to have some sympathy and volunteers to handle it. Turns out Loki is giving up his title of God of Lies and passing it along to none other than Donald Blake. Who has the venom of a serpent dripped into his eyes, of a giant serpent, I should say, dripped into his eyes. And as Loki leaves the torture chamber, he says, he tells Blake that he now sits on the throne of the God of Lies. Ever shall he reign. That was okay. All right. I was not expecting that as an ending. I've been loving Donny Cates' run on Thor so far. So yeah, let's see what's up next for it. It's been a wild ride so far. So, Anyways, moving on, we've got Darkhawk, Heart of the Hawk. Okay, so first off, for those unaware, Darkhawk was a Marvel hero introduced in the 1990s. I want to say he was kind of sort of creator-owned, kind of one of those things where someone was at least smart enough to create a character for Marvel, but also retain some creative control. For a moment, he was kind of popular. He would eventually join both the New Warriors as well as at least the West Coast Avengers, not the Avengers proper. Eventually, he would be brought back during Runaways as a member of Excelsior, then the Loners, kind of a support group of former teen heroes. He then had a huge resurgence in the late 2000s, early 2010s, thanks to his involvement in being basically pulled into the Dan Abnett and Annie Lanning's Cosmic Tales, including most notably War of Kings. He was also involved there was a spin-off. There was a tie-in miniseries involving him for Infinity Wars, and so yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, this book is kind of a we have to use the character or we lose the rights type of thing. So I could be mistaken on that, but yeah. Anyway, so it's actually we got 3 stories. We have a tale from his early days. Cry of the City, which is actually drawn by old school Darkhawk series artist Mike Manley. I think it's also written by his creator. we got Long Way from Home, set during his Cosmic Era, written by Dan Abnett, drawn by Andrew DeVito. And finally, Last Flight by Kyle Higgins and Juan Ramirez. So, Cry of the City. This is actually I'm going to say this is what I really liked, because there's a callback to something that happens in Cry of the City in Last Flight. But Darkhawk is perched on top of the Chrysler Building, and he feels like he's posing as a superhero, but then he's like, no, I actually am a superhero. But he's keeping an eye on a mob boss, one who decrepit his father. He goes to save a couple of people from a car wreck. Driver's drunk. Turns out the passenger is the daughter of the crime boss, and she actually recently saved him. So Darkhawk reverts to being Chris Powell, takes her out, offers to take her out to the opera, but they don't. Yeah, opera's not their thing. Get some ice cream. Then Savage Steel, a longtime Darkhawk villain, shows up. Chris goes back to being Darkhawk, fights Savage Steel. Savage Steel is more of a the edgy '90s anti-hero type. Basically Punisher, but with these different qualities, and not as popular. But they fight, damage the building, but the two of them both work together to protect the innocents from being harmed in the building. But they're attacked by some of the crime boss's goons. Darkhawk saves the day, and though Steel Savage's armor is injured or damaged, he goes back to his home base. Kind of thing that maybe threatening kids is a line they shouldn't cross. Chris catches up with the mob boss's daughter, but some of the goons are taking her back to see her dad, and she finally actually calls him Chris. Meanwhile, Savage Steel is revealed to be none other than Mike Powell, Chris Powell, Darkhawk's father. That's where the story ends. Then we've got Long Way from Home. It takes place in the aftermath of War of Kings at the Kortaki colony on the Inner Rim. About 9 months after the war, Chris wanders into a bar. Now, in this period, a lot more was kind of fleshed out with Darkhawk, what he was. Turns out he was part of the fraternity of Raptors, and but he gets a flash of things from the data song, as it's referred to. It's explained that the data song is the alien information feed from the armor that he wears, or actually even as, or does it wear me? It doesn't tell him anything, and they don't even speak the same language, but it shows him of what it knows, a flash of visual memory, the last time it felt the same thing. Turns out, there's a brood infestation on the colony. Darkhawk armors up. Darkhawk's up, takes down the brood. We also get there's also a callback to him and Savage Steel bracing the building here, but yeah. So he stops the brood, saves the people, and flies off, and yeah. But there are mentions of the fact that between War of Kings and the whole Cancerverse story, Nova and Star-Lord were killed. So yeah, quite a bit there. Finally, we've got Final Flight, which takes place in the now. Darkhawk's Chris is recording something. Explained that aboard a ship, he's at the precipice of a shadow war, one that will kill billions and consume existence, and this is a breach point. He spent the last 3 weeks routing everything the ship has to the maglev thrusters, trying to keep what's on the other side from coming through. But the fuel cells are almost drained, and there won't be anything left he can do. The gravitational forces make it almost impossible to transmit any sort of radio waves, or even the Darkhawk android itself from the ship. There's still one play left, he's been preparing for it, sending the amulet itself through null space, and contained within a specific version of the data cell. His data cell. All that he was, all he was, is, and all he ever learned and saw. So, he does just that, and the ship is seemingly sucked into the breach point. However, as the amulet flies off into space. However, it states not the end, and at the very tail end of the issue, we get a shot of Darkhawk flying, explaining coming later this year, Darkhawk soars again. So, and yes, Darkhawk will be getting coverage when this new Darkhawk title comes out. Not bad. Yeah, and in Final Flight, it references the whole pretending to be a superhero thing. I think it's actually really neat that all of that while each story had a different writer, they still kind of collect. Hey, here's what I'm doing in mine. Like, oh, we'll reference this in this one. We'll reference this in this one. So yeah. From what I understand, this is kind of a keep the rights type of thing. But if it's leading to a new Darkhawk series, I'm all for it. Darkhawk was a character that I dug the look of. I kind of wish I had gotten into him earlier. I tried to follow him. I've actually got some New Warriors comics. Both the recent omnibus has a few appearances by him, as well as some of the issues of the series when I started actively picking it up in the '90s. Now I've got some of his appearances here and there from the 2000s. So yeah, I think part of that is also just I like seeing '90s characters kind of get a resurgence. Kind of give them a chance to be good. I mean, dear God, reading the old New Warriors stuff from the omnibus that I mentioned previously, that took some effort. That took some real effort. Anyway, moving on to our next book, Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon, number 4. Where we left off, Okoye had ended up basically the hidden cities were being attacked, their dragons slaughtered or killed, and their hearts taken out. Okoye fought to protect the hidden cities of Gombo's dragon. However, a mysterious figure arrived and slew warriors of the Wakandan Royal Guard before retreating with the dragon's heart. Okoye followed, but the Prince of Orphans intercepted her, warning her that she must first enter the heart of heaven before finishing her fight. At the citadel of the hidden city, an evil dragon sits atop a tower of blood. So the issue begins with the horse, the rider of the undead horse, arriving at the hidden city, revealing himself to be Brenda Swanson. Douses herself in dragon's blood, gives up the dragon hearts. We gotta get her background. Seeking justice for what Harold Meacham and the Rand Corporation did to her mother for most of her life. It's not a tort to be adjudicated in a court of law. It's a judgment that must be rendered in blood, and she must be the instrument of that verdict. She did what she had to transform herself into a living weapon. Watching her mother die slowly for 10 years, and she took the small fortune bequeathed towards a guilt payment and traveled the world seeking out those that could train her in all the deadly arts. But she wasn't satisfied with just, learning what to do. She wanted to actually have experience fighting in Kurdistan, which she compares to being equivalent of earning a master's degree. Then, upon returning, Danny Rand was Iron Fist, and they went straight. She skipped the whole would haves, could haves, and should haves for straight to it's complicated. And she explains what her heart's desire is to one of the denizens of the hidden city, from the dragon chief herself, and is told that she will have her heart's desire, but the price. Oh, the price. In the heart of heaven, which is explained to be burning, Okoye meets a dragon. And learns various truths. Turns out that the heart of heaven that's burning is in the is referred to as Tajitu Square, or Yin Yang. A white fountain. A white fountain there's a black fountain in the midst of a white plaza and a white fountain in the midst of a black plaza. So, but the dragon asks if Okoye is prepared to use her warrior's hands in the service of restoring the balance. At the Baofu Citadel, Iron Fist and his allies, Fat Cobra, Dog Brother, Bride of Nine Spiders, Luke Cage, Gork, and Pei are, they're retreating from the legion of zombies. Fu offers to stay behind to the last minute to fend off the zombies, but is dragged through by Cage. They end up in with the Spider Dragon. Then they take the Spider Dragon to Peng Lei, where Pinpoint of the Champions will watch over her. Bride of Spiders tells Pinpoint not to worry. You're not going to get eaten. There's not enough meat on you for her. In Rio, a second wave of zombies is attacking, and one of them tries to grab Gork, but Pei takes care of her. The Prince of Orphans arrives with the returns of the Spider Dragon, having helped Pinpoint turn back the undead tide in Peng Lei. Prince of Orphans then explains that at Zagambo, she met a woman warrior, pure of heart and strong of arm. Luke realizes immediately he's talking about Okoye. So they go to the heart of heaven. Upon arriving, it turns out that the dragon that Okoye spoke with, she's just killed and pulled the heart from. And then she does the same thing with the Spider Dragon. Explaining that there are no heroes or villains at the crossroads of destiny. There are only those who must make terrible choices. Those who have been bidden to do the unthinkable. Who must do what they least want to do to restore the cosmic balance and preserve all under heaven. That is where the issue ends. Did not see... I'll be completely honest, I did not expect that to happen. I figured that maybe, Okoye would get some similar power ability to, the Iron Fist, Fat Cobra, Bride of Spiders, and so forth, but I didn't expect her to be to end up killing the last couple of dragons. But it should definitely make for an interesting finale. That's definitely... also, I was surprised to learn the identity of the Hidden Cities warrior. There did appear to be similarities to the way the warrior looked in Taskmaster, so my initial thought was that it was Tasky, but yeah. Anyway, the series is solid. I mean, hey, it's Larry Hama. It's written by Larry Hama. What do you expect, you know? Anyway, moving on to our final book of the video. Maestro, War and Pax, number 4. Where we left off, the Pantheon, working with Doctor Doom, managed to capture Bruce Banner, capture Maestro, revert him back to Bruce Banner, and seemingly stop him. So, Doctor Doom opts to take over Dystopia. No one's impressed when he arrives. He's like, okay, that's nice. Whatever. So he goes to Maestro's Citadel, explains to the Major Domo, I'm in charge now. Maestro isn't an issue. The Pantheon have captured him. But the Major Domo explains that they won't be able to they won't hold him. They can't. Though anyone knows that might actually be true. So let's see what happens. They're encasing him in duranium alloy, which is the toughest metal they've got. At least he's convinced this is a bad idea. That Banner's going to get loose, but kind of see what happens. In his head, he's talking with Doc Samson when the Maestro personality shows up, kills Samson, and convinces Banner to show the Pantheon who's the strongest one there is. But Banner, of course, gets loose, goes after the Pantheon, smacks Ajax away, threatens to kill Atalanta unless what was agreed upon before the betrayal is done, namely firing missiles at AIM. But Atalanta ends up telling Maestro that she deserves to die. In the world, they didn't anything to stop it. They should all be dead. So Maestro obliges her and crushes her spine. And Ulysses explains that he launched one set of the missiles at AIM. And when Maestro asks where the second set was fired, Ulysses suggests that Maestro leave. In AIM's underground base, the missiles are arriving, and MODOK is that's what they do, and he says, we die. But they'll be avenged. Explaining it's ironic that after all these years they become the Avengers. But the members of the Pantheon, as the missiles arrive at the Pantheon stronghold, the members are all huddled together just before the missiles hit, seemingly killing them off. Where a dog shows up as Maestro watches the base burn, and a dog shows up and he pets the dog, and that's where the A story ends. Then we got the B story, the Black Scythe Part 2. One of the various things that occurred during in the build-up to the now segments of this was the rise of the Black Scythe. One of the members of the Pantheon was actually killed by it, but yeah. So, a tank shows up to deal with the leader of the Black Scythe. It's unmanned, however. So it's a distraction. Then Ajax and Atalanta show up. Atalanta is dealing with everyone with her energy bow. And then finally gets a beat on Black Scythe and basically disarms Black Scythe, and he says, okay, let's talk. And that is where the issue as a whole ends. That's it for this video. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and of course, Maestro, War and Pax. It's interesting to see the lead up to Future Imperfect. At this point, I do kind of feel like it's, I don't know. I like Peter David on the Hulk as much as I like anyone on the Hulk, I guess. I mean, I've never really been a Hulk fan. Never really connected with the character. So, I mean, it's an enjoyable series, and I'll be reading to its conclusion, but yeah, I mean, it's not bad, and I will I'd rather read the lead up, like stuff like the Black Scythe. It expanded and expanded further. But yeah. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.